Hey guys, so today we're going to talk about chapter 4, which is cardiorespiratory fitness. If you haven't checked out your PowerPoint already, please do so now. There are a couple of videos within that PowerPoint that are going to provide further clarification that I just simply cannot without being in person. So please check those out and then come back to this video and we'll catch up on the other things surrounding cardiorespiratory fitness that's not covered in your PowerPoint. If you have checked out your PowerPoint, then you know that CRF, which stands for cardiorespiratory fitness, is comprised of three components, which is your heart, lungs, and vascular system, and they all help send oxygen to skeletal muscles for us to be able to be physically active, to move essentially, and to get around, bodily function, bodily movement. With that, again, please go check out that video for further explanation of CRF. I get a lot of questions about exercise and eating, which is on page 105 of your book. If you're curious, can I eat before exercise? There's also a short clip on the Mayo Clinic in your PowerPoint about that, of just eating beneficial things before exercise, like carbs. Carbs are energy. I know people are terrified of carbs, and we'll talk about this more later on in your nutrition chapters, but carbs should not be feared. Carbs are what give us energy throughout the day. And that is why they call the keto diet at the beginning of it the keto flu, because you're having to pull from a different energy source on the keto diet. So again, try and eat some carbs. Now I mean good carbs like banana, fruit, apple, peanut butter, toast with peanut butter, avocado toast, those things, so you have the energy to get through your workout. Please do not eat a huge meal before your workout. The reason I say that is because our bodies are directing blood flow when we're using different organs, different muscles. Same thing for whenever you're eating. So if you just ate, your stomach is digesting that. And for your stomach to digest that fully, it takes blood flow. So when we eat something, our stomach has full attention of blood flow. We're able to digest things. But if we're digesting things and we're also being physically active, that means that our bodies are having to split blood flow and redirect it in two different locations, which causes digestion to slow down, and we're not going to be able to be as physically active as we possibly could. And that's why there's always a suggestion of waiting so long to be active or go swimming. You know, there's always that hard and fast rule of kids need to wait 30 minutes before they go swim after they've eaten, and that's just simply due to digestion. Our bodies need to take time to digest because of blood flow, because of oxygen, so therefore we should take that time and exercise as well. So if you are hungry, eat something small that has a lot of energy. I recommend an apple or a banana or maybe a protein bar. Those are all good resources before you exercise. Again, please don't eat a huge meal before you exercise. I think we all know that that is no fun whenever you've done that, and you kind of want to vomit everywhere. So don't do that. You have three different energy systems. Whenever it comes to exercise, you have your ATP-CP, which sounds like something you would order in a Mexican restaurant, but it's really not. So your ATP-CP system is short bout energy. So on page 107, you can see that the ATP-CP is 1 to 10 seconds, which is really power. It's really for power. So things like explosive jumping, throwing really hard, weightlifting, so 1 rep max, or a 100-yard dash, or throwing a baseball, or jumping for a layup. Those are all ATP-CP. The next energy source that you have is your glycolic or your glucose system, which is the mid-range. It's 90 to 120 seconds of energy without using oxygen. They suggest that you don't do anything for more than 90 seconds or it switches to your aerobic system. An example of that would be a speed task. So swimming 100 meters, running 100 yards, those things are very speed-oriented. Speed skating, speed swimming, sprinting, essentially, right? So that's what that system is for. And then your last system is your aerobic system, which we all should know is the endurance system. So your endurance would be running things like 5Ks, marathons, half marathons, 10Ks. Anything that involves endurance is going to involve oxygen, which would be your aerobic system. Moving forward from that, There is, again, a lot of speculation about biological sex and difference between men and women. Men are from Mars, women are from Venus, and men are better, women are better, what have you. So I do want to address this. And men and women have the same ability to increase cardiorespiratory fitness levels, but men have higher absolute level of cardiorespiratory fitness. And the reason for that, and I'm going to directly quote from your book, which is on page 109, the reason is that on average, men have larger hearts and lungs, greater blood capacity, and more skeletal muscle mass than women, especially in the upper body. So you see that on page 109. Research shows that on average, men have larger hearts, lungs, greater blood capacity, and more skeletal muscle mass. So those things are on average. Suppose you ask a question like this on your quiz. It is right here on page 109. So those are your differences for that. Moving forward into assessing your cardiorespiratory fitness. So we talked about step, pedometer, kind of getting a rough gauge for your fitness level. Those are very arbitrary ways to assess your fitness level. The more accurate ways to do that are listed on page 114. They're also in your PowerPoint slide. You have the Rockport walk test. You have the run walk test. The 3-minute step test is usually what we do on campus. So if you take a class on campus, you'll do the 3-minute step test, and then the 12-minute wheelchair aerobic test if you are in a wheelchair. All of those are assessments for your cardiorespiratory fitness. So the Rockport walk test is checking your heart rate after 1 mile as quickly as possible. The 1.5 mile is based on time, so how long it takes you to run or walk that 1.5 mile. 3-minute step test is you're doing circadian rhythm 3 minutes, and then you're checking your heart rate afterwards and how long it takes for your heart rate to come back down after a minute. So all of those are ways to assess your cardiorespiratory fitness. Check that out on page 114 of your book if you have more questions. And then the big part that I really want to get to today is your target heart rate and your max heart rate, which I will ask you about several times, so please be knowledgeable about it. It's very important for you to know it. So your max heart rate is always going to be predetermined regardless of what phase in life you are in, and it's based on our age. So max heart rate is predetermined by age. So the way that you figure that out is 220 minus your age. So if you are 20, then your max heart rate will be 200. And you're going to base all other calculations for your heart rate on your max heart rate. So you should be able to find that out. Again, it is 220 minus your age. That's max heart rate. If you have any questions about heart rate and finding it, it's on page 118 of your book, and it's also in your PowerPoint. Now, the other ways that you find your target heart rate zone are also on page 118, but I'm going to cover them, and I hope that this makes sense to you, and if it does not, please reach out to me. We are not going to use the heart rate reserve method, so please just get that out of your head right now. Don't use it. We're going to use the first part of that above the heart rate reserve method on page 118. And the way that we do that is using your max heart rate, again, times the percentage in which you're going to work. So in this class, your target heart rate zone should not be 1 number, but should be 2. So if you're thinking about a zone, there should be 2 numbers involved, right? So a touchdown zone area, there's so many feet that you have to get in there. It's not just one little sliver. It's not 1 number. A zoning is multiple feet, multiple yards, miles, different things of that nature. So when you think of zone, think of 2 numbers, which should be your minimum and your maximum range for your target heart rate zone. So to calculate your target heart rate zone, you must figure out your intensity of exercise first, which is on page 119 of your book. It tells you what area you might be in. So your sedentary, 57 to 67%. Minimal physical activity, 64 to 74%. If you're sporadic, you work out 3 times 1 week and then you don't work out the next, 74 to 84%, and then so on and so forth. So use this chart to calculate your target heart rate zone. So you should multiply, say I'm sedentary. So my lower half will be 57% and my upper half will be 65, 67%. You don't have to go 57 to 67%. You can pick your area in between. But make sure you're using the heart rate max method versus your heart rate reserve, which is on the left side. So notice that on the top of the chart it says heart rate max versus the heart rate reserve, which is on the right. Make sure you're using the left side of that chart to check your target heart rate zone. So again, you need two numbers. You should multiply your max heart rate by the percentage that you want to engage in physical activity or exercise, and that will be on the chart on 119. Those are the main notes that I wanted you to take into consideration. There is a difference between moderate and vigorous activity, which is on page 120 if you're interested in that and the differences. And outside of that, I'll post your Jackson County statistics and your Jackson County video within this week.